Um, Yesterday we also talked about that sense of the punk community in Mexico, which is called like that. And you said that it can be like a process, a part, is something that you leave on the way to find something else later. And this sense of community make many people feel confident, maybe because even though it is a fiction, the identity, but many people still feel safe into that.
Well, that's the danger.
Yeah, I know it's a danger. I know, but sometimes it's like it seems to be that many people can't leave it apart. You get hold of it. I need this identity because it helps me feel somebody.
Yeah, but the identity actually diminishes.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
nature. That's why sort of mass protest is so ridiculous. Why do you need confirmation of what you feel?
Yeah.
The earth doesn't mind. You know, the sort of romantics, you know, can make fictions about Mother Earth. But we don't honour Mother Earth by not understanding her nature and being her nature. If we want to be separate from that, that's fine. You know, that's other people's business, not mine.
Yeah.
But to me, it's one huge fiction, one huge theatre. And I can engage in it, of course I can. I'm doing so at the moment to an extent. I think that in the approach to, I mean, I don't believe in any existent self. You know, like the thing, know thyself. You can't know thyself because you are thyself. Anything else is a diminishment of that. You know, so identity is an immediate diminishment of thyself, because thyself is all self. I have no question and no doubt about that. I mean, I have people disagree, but
Yeah.
I think it's so manifest. And people say then you can't do anything. You can't. You know, why aren't you trying to help? And why? You're not helping by confusing the issue. It's again back to appropriate action. You know, I've known you, you know, through Argentina. I remember a wonderful conversation we had when you were organising the march. And I very, very much respect that. But at the same time, you know, I remember saying, looking at one's complicity, to what extent do we create these situations? And we do have to ask that. And as we melt away our own fiction, our own engagement, and complicity is always the first one to go for, to what degree have I contributed to this moment of crisis? To what degree have I contributed to this moment of violence? You know, the bad situations we get into. That's what I always do. It's always my immediate reaction. How have I orchestrated this? Not why is this person about to punch me in the face? More, why have I created this situation? To what degree am I responsible? And generally speaking, one will find some form of complicity, some form of responsibility in all of the things that you like to imagine you feel sorrow about. And that's the first real step towards the demolishment of illusion. And as it happens, you know, it doesn't change anything at all. It simply means that one is more able to cope, you know, because you're moving into the realm of actuality rather than fiction. You know, so if those guys come over the wall armed to their teeth to sort of blow all the hell out of us, I'm ready. I'm ready because I haven't got anything in the way. I'm not carrying a past saying, if they come over the wall, that's the past. They've come over the wall before. That's the past. And the future is totally blank, but
Yeah.
we like to fill up. Fear it is totally dependent upon a future projection. You can't have fear unless you're projecting into an unknown future. Fear is based on an unknown future.
Yes.
So what are you talking about? It hasn't happened, so why are you making it happen? You're inviting it, in a way, you're inviting it to happen. And appropriate action just says no. Appropriate action is right this moment. How can you make love, or how can you make war? How can you do anything except in that situation now? Because that's actually where we're doing it, at each passing moment.
Yeah, but I think that too many times we don't think very deep. I mean, we act like automatically. Most people,
Yeah.
that's what I see. I mean, even
Well, what is the sort of narrative that one is reacting around with that automatic reaction? What do you think is the...
I think that many times it's like too many things happening all day, not having enough time to be alone thinking. During the day, many people work many hours, then they want to forget about work, turn on the TV or listen to music or do stuff to forget about yourself instead of going deeper. So many times all these become like an automat person that is always repeating things.
But that's entirely... I mean, I was asking you, well, what's the narrative? I mean, the narrative is materialism.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted you to say it, but I've said it now.
Yeah.
And yes, that's how materialism, that's how it's structured, that's how it's maintained.
Yes.
I can't remember the exact expression you used, but, you know, like we're not happy, so what do? We go and watch, we watch the television, which is a product. You know, it's further indoctrination, or we go out shopping, which is, you know, further indoctrination. Everything actually is designed to keep you in that loop. Mm-hmm. Fear being the key one. I don't think it really takes a sort of, you know, brain surgeon to see that it's all very simple. You know, we're making that choice. You know, you can't say you're not, because you are.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Even I think, you know, people who study the brain are now saying that we are aware before we become cognitively aware of events, which is, of course, must be the case, because events occur before our awareness of them. Things have already happened. By the time we're reacting, it has to have happened, otherwise we wouldn't have anything to react to. Well, it's that little gap between the event and our reaction,
Yes.
which is the big danger point. And it's moving from reaction into event. You know, that's the whole process. You know, you're moving, that's inappropriate action, because here's what happens and here's our reaction. Well, it's too late. And that's the thing, that's the point, that's the moment, always, in every single step into the darkness of the future, into the absolute blank. You know, the future is a sort of just nothing but infinite possibility.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing and everything, it's the absolute. And it's the absolute to which all of this fiction returns. And it's the absolute from which we appeared. So, you know, as we step, each moment is actually that crucial. And if we're not prepared to accept that, then we're not actually taking life seriously.
Mm.
Well, okay, I accept that most people don't take life seriously. Well, that's not my problem.
Yes. And what about people who can't relaxed or who are always more in danger than others or live in difficult situations and can't make all this reflection on every little action of their life or their daily lives.
I don't think that it helps. You know, it's a somewhat socialistic view to sort of talk about people. What about the people?
Mm-hmm.
What about them? And that's not a cruel attitude. It generally, the what about the people as expressed by socialists tend to talk about people, it's generally speaking rather comfortable people talking about rather uncomfortable people. In other words, it's intellectuals talking about poverty and working class problems,
Mm-hmm.
talking about people who are very capable of looking after their own lives in their own way, who don't need I mean, the intellectuals and the academics are in a way the SS of the materialist world. You know, the SS, secret, the Nazi. I mean, they're the super elite to keep it all in order.
Yeah.
So I haven't got much time for that sort of what about the people. Yeah, you can find what about the kid at the moment in Iraq who's having his head blown off. I know that's happening.
Yes.
And I know there's a guy on the end of the trigger. I know that's happening. You know, and as much as I feel pity for the kid, I feel pity for the guy with the finger. And I feel pity for the person who told him to be there. And I feel pity for the family, and I feel pity. And not in a sort of patronising way. I feel pity because they don't know love.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do anything much about that, except be it. To manifest it, or allow its manifestation, and I allow its manifestation by not being myself. Because the moment I start being Penny Rambo, then I'm not allowing life to manifest itself. I'm in somewhere or other trying to condition and control the outlet. If you went to a cat balancing on a roof and gave it an identity, it would fall off in a second. It would lose its balance. And that's really, I know, certainly since I've become more serious in my practice, how people are constantly trying to kick away the ground from my feet. Because they're threatened by that. They're threatened by the peacefulness. They're threatened by the calm.
Yes.
And they're more threatened by the fact they possibly even recognise there's nothing there. They don't want to enter into that, what they see as a void.
It's a fear that you are talking about.
Me too. Yeah.
And it's not accepting that other person goes deeper into that. It's like many people can't accept this sort of
you've almost
reaction.
You've almost sort of qualified the whole nature of violence, which is yesterday when I was saying that most male violence is actually their lack. Not the fact that they possess something, it's the fact that they feel dispossessed, and the only way of dealing with that dispossession, in their terms, is violence. Or reckless driving, or all the things boys do when they feel threatened.
Mm-hmm.
Threat, it has to be always lack of. It can't be anything else.
Yeah.
Well, by toning one's desires, I mean, one of the biggest decisions in my life that I made maybe 7-10 years ago was never to engage myself again in any form of romantic relationship. Which doesn't mean I don't have relationships, it doesn't mean I don't have sex. It does mean I do not engage in a fantasy.
But have you ever before had other sort of relationships, like other type of...
Yeah. I fell for the illusion. And actually at the time could quite magnificently, philosophically justify it. I used to sort of believe in the Romeo and Juliet syndrome. In other words, it's only through death that we can enter the universal. But, the intimacy, the sexual union, primarily it would be man and woman, but that's not necessary. But that union was a sort of moment of universality. This is what I used to believe. And this is what I used to promote, which, you know, I mean, I'm very aware that I now believe something and promote something different now. You know, things change. So I no more think I'm right now, or I as much think I'm right now as I did then. But anyway, so I used to believe that only through that sort of, you know, sexual transcendence, you know, could that sense of universality be achieved. And it was only really when I came to realise that actually is just using someone for the very thing you're looking for and taking from someone, the very thing that you're not looking for and taking from your own being. That actually we are totally equipped in that sense. That union is a circular thing and not a penetrative or a receptive thing. Which is why sex, you know, is of no interest to me as such, because it's about something external rather than a, you know, circular motion which one can have in any situation or with anyone. Something which doesn't require any physical involvement. You know, in other words, which is what's happening.
You said something about feeling alone, naked, and proud. Is that the way you feel when you have all these ideas? You can look into yourself, you have time to do that, and you are making a choice of thinking in yourself?
No, not at all. I mean, I should have explained yesterday. The naked I meant was sort of naked mind as much as naked body. Totally, absolutely naked. And that's what I feel all the time. You know, that can be, the curtains can be drawn across that, you know, as they are at the moment, you know, because I'm being required to behave in a rational, reasoned way.
Yeah.
And I'm very agreeable to that. I have no problem with that. But, you know, I'm aware, it's almost like my vision is shadowed when I'm doing that. And if I allow that vision to open up, if I allow the manifestation of existence to come forward, then it's like a tempest. And I don't do that with people very often, or very, very rarely. I mean, that's what I do. Certainly I do it in my... That is constantly manifesting in Tai Chi, in every moment and movement, you know, the sort of tempest of life, you know, the force of the earth. And I feel that, you know, in all my aloneness. And I know that's where we meet. You know, not you and I, but you and I and everyone. That's where we meet, and that's where we actually are. And it includes all of the sort of materialist manifestations, which is why they don't concern me. I don't react emotionally if I hear about some kid having his head blown off in Iraq. It's not an emotional feeling at all, any more than I get an emotional feeling when I heard a bird sing. I've got preferences, probably, but even those are damaging and dangerous.